You might be using some mods that have been superseded by newer alternatives that you didn't even know about. These newer mods could have less bugs, a cleaner implementation, better visuals or more content than the older ones. Or in some cases there could be a mod that performs the same function as a bunch of other smaller mods, integrating them all together and making them redundant. In this video I will show you which mods are outdated, what should they be replaced with, and most importantly why should you replace them. The first mod we have is MCO, which changes combat animations, making combat look like a modern game. It is superseded by the newer mod BFCO. The reason why you should use BFCO is that BFCO supports attack speed modifiers. Perks such as 20% increased attack speed don't work with MCO and are completely useless, but they will work with BFCO and make the animation faster. BFCO also allows for directional power attacks, swimming attacks, jumping attacks, and supports NPC combo attacks out of the box. All of these are features that MCO doesn't have. Next we have ZX Slice Potion Animation or Animated Potions, either of these two mods. These are completely outdated and should be replaced by Ultimate Animated Potions NG. This newer mod gives you potion animations as well, but with less bugs, works in first person, works for NPCs, so you can combine it with a mod that gives NPC potions like smart NPC potions, and if your potion drinking animation is interrupted, the potion effect will now be cancelled. Next we have Populated Skyrim Hell Edition, which adds more NPCs to bandit camps, dungeons, towns, roads and prisons, which you can replace with the newer mod Populated Skyrim Reborn, which fixes compatibility issues with the older mod and also fixes some bugs. Alternatively, if you only care about adding more enemies to bandit camps and dungeons, you can use the mod Hand-Placed Enemies. I'm always playing with this mod and it does the job really well. It works perfectly with no bugs or compatibility issues at all. The next one isn't really a mod but rather a tool, and it's FNIS or the newer Nemesis animation engine. You have to replace these with Pandora. You see, FNIS has been superseded by Nemesis, but Nemesis also has a problem. It doesn't work with creature animations, and it's also quite slow and sometimes prone to crashes. Pandora is much faster than both FNIS and Nemesis. It has no bugs or any sort of issues and supports creature animations as well. The only caveat is if you use TK dodge, you need a special patch for it to work with Pandora. Next we have mods that allow you to position objects such as Jackson Z Positioner, Cob Positioner and other similar mods, and you can replace those with Object Manipulation Overhaul. With this newer mod it will be significantly easier for you to manipulate an object than with these older mods. I used to use Jackson Z Positioner and actually it's not completely superseded, because with these positioner mods, once you've done manipulating an object and positioning it how you want to, you always want to lock the object in place so that you don't accidentally move it by bumping into it. And unfortunately the object manipulation overhaul actually lacks that ability, but the good news is you can use for example Jackson Z Positioner and object manipulation overhaul together, and only using the lock object function from Jackson Z Positioner and positioning the object with object manipulation overhaul. Next we have the dynamic animation replacer. Hopefully all of you have already replaced it with Open Animation Replacer, which has a ton of improvements over the older mod. If you haven't replaced it yet, you should do so now. All of the mods that used to require Dynamic Animation Replacer are actually compatible with Open Animation Replacer out of the box, so there is no reason for you not to replace the older mod with the newer alternative. One of the most famous Skyrim mods is AddItemMenu, which simply lets you cheat and add items to your character. This mod can be very useful in some cases. It's not compatible with newer versions of the game and has been replaced with the Skyrim cheat engine, which does the same and also allows you to spawn NPCs and add spells. There's an even newer mod however called ModEx. ModEx lets you add items, place objects, spawn NPCs, teleport to locations or to specific NPCs and more. It is the most advanced and convenient mod to use for these purposes, so I suggest you use it instead. The only thing it lacks is the ability to add spells, perks and shouts, which Skyrim Cheat Engine can do. So if you need that functionality, you can use Skyrim Cheat Engine instead. There is one mod that most of you probably are using for years now. It's a staple in everyone's load order. It is Enhanced Blood Textures. I've used this mod for 13 years, from 2012 up until a few weeks ago when I replaced it with a brand new mod called Sanguine Symphony. Sanguine Symphony does what Enhanced Blood Textures does, improves blood splatters, blood puddles, improves blood textures, etc. But it does so much more. The blood sprays in this mod are dynamic and depend on the direction and intensity of each hit, and the amount of blood that comes out depends on the target's HP. But this mod also completely overhauls the impact system, changing the visuals and audio effects that happen when you hit an enemy, depending on the enemy's worn armor, your weapon, and other factors, and it makes the combat extremely satisfying. I'll give you a link in the description to a showcase of the mod's features that is made by the mod author. I recommend you guys watch it to see all that mod has to offer. Another very old mod we can replace is Wet and Cold, which adds some effects to the player based on the weather, such as dripping water during rain or bubbles during swimming. or even cold breaths in the northern regions, and more. Instead of this, you can now use the rain, ash, and snow shaders. This newer mod does similar things to wet and cold. It doesn't have as many features, but the older wet and cold is quite script heavy and can cause some instability to your game, while the newer mod has a much cleaner implementation. You can compare both mods' features, and if you're satisfied with the features of rain, ash, and snow shaders, then you should use it instead to make your game more stable and cleaner. Next we have a mod called Bookem. This is a mod that integrates the functionality of some other mods related to books. It replaces mods such as Unread Books Glow, Reading is Good, Don't Eat Spell Tomes, or Pick Up Books Simple, and possibly some other similar mods. Bookem is highly configurable via its MCM, and so if you use any of the above mentioned book mods, you can delete them and get this one. Another mod that integrates other mods into it is the unofficial Skyrim modders patch. USMP is a mod that fixes many small Skyrim bugs that aren't covered by the unofficial patch. It incorporates a ton of smaller individual bugfix mods, so many that I cannot list all of them here. You can find the full list at USMP's mod page in the credits section. To reduce your mod count even further, you can use the mod Scrambled Bugs. This mod also makes a bunch of mods redundant, such as the Enchantment Reload fix and Flora Respawn fix, and you can see a full list of redundant mods in a sticky post in the comments section of this mod. Scrambled Bugs also fixes a lot more bugs than these redundant mods do, and it is also now required by many mods as well, such as perk mods. There's really no disadvantages to using it, and everybody should have it in their load order. Over the years, there have been several mods that let you spare Paarthurnax and modify that part of the vanilla main quest. The most famous one of those was the Paarthurnax dilemma made by Arthmoor. If you're using any of these mods, you can replace them with the Paarthurnax quest expansion, which is a much improved version of the older mods that do the same thing. It also lets you spare Paarthurnax and modifies the main quest dialogue, but it is fully voiced and it is much more expanded than the Paarthurnax dilemma. It is also made by J Serpa, which has a good track record of making mods that change vanilla quests. Another mod you can replace is Better Dynamic Snow, which improves the snow mesh and removes snow from under the roofs of Skyrim, among other fixes. Instead of that mod, you can use Simplicity of Snow, which does the same thing but has no compatibility issues and has no need for using any patches. You can also use the mod shaders of Solstheim, which is a replacement for Better Dynamic Ash, which does the exact same thing but for the Ash in Solstheim. There are also some mods that add new equipment to the game and use scripts to distribute it. Distributing items via scripts is an outdated way of doing things, and we now have the spell perk item distributor and Skypatcher to do that instead. Some example mods that do this are Immersive Armors and Animated Armory. If you're using these mods, you will still need them, but you can replace their distribution method via SPID patches. For Immersive Armors, you can use RMB Spidified Immersive Armors, and for Animated Armory there is Animated Armory Skypatched Fixes Rebalance Enchantments patches, which also rebalances the mod. The last mod on this list is NPC Names Distributor. This also uses SPID and is used to distribute random names to different NPCs and creatures in Skyrim. It is a replacement to the older mod Real Names, which does the same thing. You should use NPC Names Distributor simply because of its cleaner implementation, and also it has a lot of patches to make it work with other creatures and NPCs or mod added creatures. That was all for this video. Hopefully you've learned something about these newer mods that you can use instead of your older ones. For now I'm out and I'll see you in the next video.